Hello everyone. I want to speak directly with you about data centers, battery energy storage systems, the direction of our city, and several matters I will bring before City Council Monday evening. Over the past several months, I have spent a great deal of time researching data centers and battery storage systems, commonly referred to as BES facilities. I began that research because Lynn Valley faces a serious financial challenge. Too much of the cost of operating our city falls on our residents and property owners through property taxes. We need to broaden our tax base, identify sustainable sources of revenue, and find ways to fund our city's needs without continually asking the same people to pay more. I wanted the city to understand these emerging industries before we were ever required to make a decision about them. I believe we should determine whether either type of development could provide meaningful revenue or infrastructure benefits while still protecting our residents, our environment, and the character of Lynn Valley. I also wanted Lynn Valley to have a meaningful voice in shaping its own future. And here's what I learned. After reviewing a substantial amount of information, I do not believe either technology is as simple or as frightening as some social media posts portray it. That doesn't mean there are no risks. Data centers raise legitimate concerns about noise, lighting, water, and electricity use, backup generators, emergency response, environmental factors, infrastructure, appearance, and long-term compatibility with the surrounding community. Battery energy storage systems raise legitimate questions about fire safety, emergency response, environmental protection, setbacks, noise, decommissioning, financial responsibility, and the qualifications and resources of our emergency personnel. Those concerns deserve serious and independent examination. They should neither be dismissed or exaggerated. I also learned that any promised financial benefit must be carefully examined. We should never assume that a project will automatically generate a particular amount of revenue, lower anyone's property taxes, or produce benefits equal to its impact. Any proposed agreement would need to be independently evaluated, documented, and made available for public scrutiny before the city made a commitment. And what I've heard from the community. Research alone, however, does not answer the most important question. Is this what the people of the Lynn Valley want for the community? The answer I heard is crystal clear. The comments, conversations, messages, reactions, and informal polls show substantial opposition to both data centers and battery energy storage systems. The polls are not scientific surveys or official elections, and they don't replace the legal responsibilities of planning and zoning or the city council. Nevertheless, they are another meaningful way to gauge public sentiment. The polls remain open until Monday morning, and I encourage everyone to continue to go out there and vote and make your opinions heard. And I will report those final results Monday. But the response I've already received is strong enough that I can't ignore it. Some residents oppose these facilities because of particular risks. Some do not trust the promised financial benefits. Some simply believe this kind of development does not fit the identity or character of Lynn Valley. I don't want this here. By itself, is a legitimate community position and one we should listen to. Residents should not have to become technical experts before expressing what they want their community to be. My responsibility is not merely to determine whether something can be regulated safely. I must also listen to you, the community, when you tell me that you don't want to proceed at all. Now I want to talk a little bit about misinformation and accusations. I need to address the tone of some of this public discussion. During this process, information has circulated that was incomplete, misleading, or simply incorrect. Statements have been attributed to me and others that I didn't make, and some of my comments have been misunderstood or presented without their full context. There have also been insinuations that a deal had already been made, that someone in the mayor's office or the city had been promised money, or that the research was being conducted for improper purposes. Those allegations are completely and totally false. No deal has been made. I have not been promised money or any other personal benefit. My research was undertaken because I believed it was my responsibility as mayor to investigate possible sources of revenue, understand the risks, and prepare the city to make an informed decision. Questions, disagreement, and criticisms are entirely appropriate. Accusations of dishonesty or corruption should not be made without evidence. They damage public trust, discourage people from servicing their community, and make constructive discussions more difficult. At the same time, I recognize that I have sometimes allowed my frustration with repeated questions, misinformation, and personal accusations to make me defensive, Some of my responses became sharper than they should have been, and I'll own that. This process has also taught me something about myself. I ran for mayor because I wanted the city government to communicate better. I wanted residents to receive meaningful answers instead of simply being told to check the website or read a document somewhere. During this process, I found myself moving towards the very kind of communication I had promised to improve. Moving away from the kind of, you know what I mean. I became frustrated. I became defensive. At times, I focused more on correcting claims or defending the research than on listening to what people were trying to tell me. I do not like what parts of this process brought out in me. That does not mean every accusation was fair or every claim was accurate. It means I remain responsible for how I respond. Being mayor requires listening even when the conversation is difficult, and it requires maintaining a perspective when criticism becomes personal. I apologize for the times my frustration interfered with that kind of communication and leadership I want to provide. All this leads to my decision. After considering the research and the community responses, I have decided to withdraw any support for allowing either a data center or battery energy storage facility in the valley. Again, I am withdrawing any support for those types of facilities here. Monday evening, I will ask the City Council to discontinue considerations of these uses and direct the City Attorney to prepare the appropriate legislation to prohibit them within the city, following all legally required procedures. That is not a declaration that every data center or battery facility everywhere is inherently dangerous. It is a determination that those uses do not presently fit Lynn Valley or the future our residents want for this community. A prohibition adopted by current City Council will remain in effect unless a future governing body changed it through the proper legal processes. I don't think that will happen. I think this is a very good exercise in listening to our community and understanding what we need versus what we want, and just being there for each other. So I just want to make sure that you do understand that we cannot say this, they will never be here. We can put a ban on them now. A future council and mayor could reverse that decision. I'm here today also to promise you that as long as I'm your mayor, I will not support that decision being reversed. I will not support data center or battery energy storage system being located inside Lynn Valley or near Lynn Valley. We do not need it. We do not want it as a community. Therefore, it is my job to fight for you and make sure that that does not happen. So where do we go from here? Withdrawing support for these projects does not eliminate the financial challenges that led me to investigate them in the first place. We still need to reduce our dependence on property taxes. We still need to broaden our tax base. We need to identify economic opportunities that fit Lynn Valley's scale, environment, and character, specifically the character. There may be retail, recreation, tourism, service business, homegrown businesses, grants, partnerships, and other forms of development that are better suited to our community. Those possibilities deserve the same serious attention. Monday evening, I will be officially asking the council to establish an Economic Development and Growth Committee and a Parks and Recreation Committee. The Economic Development and Growth Committee would help research appropriate businesses, revenue sources, grants, partnerships, and carefully plan growth opportunities. The Parks and Recreation Committee would help us strengthen the amenities and natural qualities that make Lynn Valley distinctive, including opportunities involving our parks, lakes, trails, recreation, wildlife, environmentally responsible development, and dark sky principles. And I know a lot of that relates to the POA, and the city can't directly influence or financially help, but we will do everything we can to help those things and to keep whatever we do plan in line with those things. These committees would also provide residents with direct opportunities to participate in planning Lynn Valley's future. Discussion has also exposed the larger and more urgent problem that our comprehensive plan is 19 years old. Before we choose any major development because of the money it might generate, we need to slow down, and decide what kind of community we intend it to become. Where should commercial activity occur? Where shouldn't it? What kinds of development are compatible with this and what isn't? How do we maintain our natural resources and residential areas and community characteristics, make sure they're protected? Updating the comprehensive plan is more important than deciding the fate of any single proposed industry. The new committees, planning and zoning, and council, city staff, and the public should all have meaningful roles in that process. I encourage anyone that wants to get involved in one of those two committees to reach out to me, so that we can get these things going. I'm looking for probably 5 to 7 people per committee. They would be appointed by me, and the council would confirm them, just like any other committee that a city would have. But I really want you people out there. You guys have had a lot of ideas. There's been a lot of things that have came out through these posts, these conversations on data centers and battery storage and things that, why can't we have this? Why can't we have that? We need these ideas. We need you guys to help us research, help us look into these things. We need to build the Lynn Valley that we want and keep things out that we don't want as a community. Excuse me. I'm also going to request that council consider hiring a qualified project manager, preferably someone with construction project management, to help oversee all these major projects. The water project is underway, and under the contract, affected roads and other areas must ultimately be restored to their prior condition. But concerns involving current road conditions and possible safety hazards still need to be documented and addressed as they arise. As we are preparing the lagoon expansion, more road concerns are appearing, some of which may or may not be connected to the water project construction. We need to investigate a permanent solution for City Hall so the city does not continue indefinitely to pay rent for a supposed temporary building. We also have to make sure that whatever we do is cost conscious. We will not raise taxes to fund a city hall. These projects involve schedules, contracts, contractors, documentation, inspections, costs, and accountability that require sustained attention and relevant professional experience. Councilmember Gravel has been doing a fantastic job assisting in the area with the water project, but it is a lot I really appreciate his work, and I can't say enough how much he has helped in that situation. But we should not depend primarily on one council member or on residents noticing and reporting every potential problem to oversee millions of dollars in public projects. A dedicated project manager would help the council and staff monitor progress, document problems, coordinate with contractors, protect the city's interest, and keep residents better informed. In closing, researching data centers and battery storage was not wrong. Asking questions was not wrong. Considering ways to broaden our tax base was not wrong. But leadership is not proving an original idea was correct or forcing an issue forward after the community has spoken. Leadership also requires being willing to reconsider, change direction, and say so publicly. I began this process because I wanted to protect Lynn Valley's financial future. I'm ending my support for these uses because protecting our future also means respecting the character of our community and listening to people who live and own property here. We still have difficult financial decisions ahead. Saying no to these possibilities means we must work even harder to identify alternatives. I am prepared to do that, and I hope residents participate through the proposed committees, the comprehensive plan update, council meetings, and continued respectful communication. Thank you to everyone who provided information, asked sincere questions, expressed concerns, participated in the polls, or challenged me to look at this from a different perspective. I have listened. Monday evening, I will ask City Council to begin turning that public input into action. And I would like to also lastly say, this is exactly how, not exactly how, but this is how I want our government to work. I will come up with ideas, council members will come up with ideas, citizens will come up with ideas. Some are gold, some aren't. Some need to go in the new lagoons that we're getting ready to expand, and we all know where these current projects need to go. So with that, I appreciate people calling me out. I appreciate people expressing their concerns, and keep it up. Let me know when things aren't what you want. Let me know what things are what you want. Enjoy the weekend. I know it's only Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. But enjoy the weekend. Getting some nice rain today. Maybe cool off a little bit for a few days. And I look forward to continuing to serve you. And I guess that's all. Goodbye, and thanks for listening to this droning on 15-minute speech here. We'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.